Hello, welcome to another episode of EPMS Tech Talk. I'm Chris Costa.
And I'm Joanne LaFlamme.
Hi, Joanne.
Hey, Chris.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. So what do you think we should cover today?
Well, last week we talked about the business critical reports in accounting. I know there were other reports that users typically like to print, so I'd like to go over what some of the other key reports are. In
Yeah, we can cover some of the non-critical reports. There are a few in AR that I might recommend.
Okay.
And even a couple others in some of the other parts of the program. So,
Great.
Okay. We can start in receivables. Okay. Again, we're going to access them still from the same reports list. And the first one we might talk about is the sales report. And this report can be run by customer or sales rep. I'm going to key right now on the customer method. And this is really a nice report to see. It's really going to compare this year's sales to last year's sales, both by month and by year to date. Okay,
Great.
so if we come back to the report for a second, you'll see here it's broken down by customer. You can see each of the 12 periods. It's a fiscal year type report, but the top line is going to show you the current year, and the bottom line is going to show you last year.
Great.
And then over on the left, you'll see a month to date versus last year, month to date, and then also a year to date versus last year, year to date. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. And again, that's for all of your customers. And if you hit the drop down, there are other, you can run it for the sales rep, same sort of thing. Okay. The next report we might talk about would be the tax report. And you can run the tax item listing by summary and detail for both the tax code and tax jurisdiction, depending on how you need to report to the state.
Okay.
Okay, so we can open up that one next. And that'll be down where it says tax item listing. If I select that, and I'm going to run it by the jurisdiction, and I'll run it in detail. And of course, you can choose your date range. Okay. So if you choose jurisdiction, of course, it's going to break down and give you each of the jurisdictions. If you chose tax code, it would show you the individual tax codes.
Okay.
Okay, invoice number, and then what's most important, the taxable and the tax amount. And it'll give you a grand total at the bottom. And it will subtotal, of course, for each jurisdiction.
Okay.
Okay.
Excellent.
And then maybe another one, we can look at some of the aging reports. The open AR is another big one for a lot of people, whether it be by individual customer or overall for all of them.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's take a look at that.
So we can look at that one. And that's the very first one on the list. I select it. And again, if you put in an account range or a specific account, you can look at one particular customer. Okay. Which actually I'll do that just to make the report run a little quicker. And I'll run it in detail. And pretty straightforward what it's giving you. It'll tell you the type of transaction, if it's an invoice or receipt, what the document number is, the date. And basically it's just giving you the open balance of that transaction. It will break it down 0 to 30, 31 to 60, and so forth. It will show you who the sales rep is on the account.
Okay.
This is aging by the actual transaction date. Okay, it does not
Okay.
look at the terms code. It's going strictly by the invoice or the receipt date.
Okay.
Okay.
Terrific.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so those are a couple of examples in AR of some of the non-critical reports.
Okay, now I assume there's probably some in AP as well. Can we take a look at those?
Sure, absolutely. Just go ahead and close this report down. And we'll go out of AR. We'll go into AP and click on the reports. And one of the main ones in AP is the purchase reports. And I'll just run it monthly by supplier. And this is going to really show you all of the purchases that you've done for all of your suppliers, okay, by period.
Okay.
And it's just a nice breakdown, as you can see here, a listing of all your suppliers, by the periods going left to right. It'll grand total each supplier, as well as grand total each period at the bottom, and then give you an overall total in the bottom right.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, what other options do I have for printing this report?
The other options really are you can get it in a month-to-date, year-to-date variety, which is just a summary
Okay.
for each supplier. And then as well, if you wanted to run by, supplier category, if you wanted to see what you did for overall, all of paper, all of ink, however you have your suppliers categorized,
Okay.
you can run it like that too.
Thank you.
Okay. So that might be the one in AP. We looked at the check last week as the business critical and the 1099, I believe, last week as
Correct,
well.
yes.
Okay. So we can go into cash book. And I would pull up the check register in this case. And, this is sort of a report that, I get a question all the time about, well, how can I see what payments, what checks did I write? In AP, you can run a transaction register report filtered down by payment, the payments. You can also go into cash book and run the check register as well.
Okay.
Okay. So we can look at that one here. And this one here, you can lock it down to a specific account. You can run it by the check date or the check number, or the date.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll run it for the date this month. Okay, and it'll just give you the checks, okay, listed, vendor name, the date, and so forth. Okay.
Okay.
If a check was voided, you'd see that as well.
So it would print on here and let me know that it was
It would,
voided?
yes,
Okay.
absolutely, yep.
Terrific.
Okay.
Are there any reports in GL that we didn't cover last week?
Yeah, I think we looked at a couple of the financial statements last week. We can print the trial balance this week.
Okay.
Which would
let's
be
take a look
another
at that.
example, sure. Okay. So if I close out of there, I'm going to go into GL, and again, go into the reports. And if we highlight the trial balance, this is a very straightforward report. Okay, I'm going to choose, you can run it in summary, detail, and then of course it has a couple of date range options. I'll print it summary by date range. Okay, now it's just going to give you, in this case, what was done. Let me expand the date range a little bit, go out to the beginning of the year. Okay, so now it'll give me just about everything. It'll show the beginning balance, the activity during the period, during the date range provided,
Okay.
And then your ending balance. Okay.
Great. Thank you.
And with the trial balance also, you can lock it down to a individual GL account or range of accounts if you want to see just that specific detail.
Okay, that's great. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else?
No, I think you've covered all the pertinent reports.
That's good.
Thank you very much.
Okay, you're welcome. Well, this was another episode of EPMS Tech Talk. I'm Chris Costa.
And I'm Joanne LaFlamme.
Please look forward to more to come.